Welcome back. You're watching Your View here on Newzroom Africa, channel 405. Now, when I heard that I'll be talking to Narius Moloto, the leader of the PAC, suddenly I had flashbacks of an interview that I saw. It was the commemoration of the Sharpeville massacre, and I think it was the SABC were doing a live broadcast. It was all going well, a significant moment in our history, chapter in our history that's worth marking every year with the kind of reflection that it deserves. And all of a sudden, you saw all these activities around that area, and you saw members of the PAC fighting with one another, and it became a really, really ugly scene. And I think for me, that really was something that perhaps captures the state of the PAC of late. Infighting seemingly never ending. Leader after leader comes and goes, but it doesn't seem like they can find a solution. And the voters have spoken about what their verdict is of all this infighting in as far as the PAC is concerned, with only one vote, one seat rather, in Parliament. This is the party that, you know, if you're of a certain generation, you honestly would have expected that at the end of apartheid, this would be the legitimate alternative government to the ANC. Certainly in the years building up to democracy in South Africa, they were a viable enterprise. Many of the people that went to fight for freedom, the choice was very simple. If you were not joining the ANC, you were joining the PAC of Robert Sobukwe. Many people dedicated their lives to the struggle, fighting in the PAC's APLA, Azanian People's Liberation Army. But, you know, that's a lifetime away now. It really is a lifetime away. The state of the PAC, really, really sorry. Well, there was a gathering. I'm told it happened in Marble Hall. The PAC leader, Narius Moloto, joins me in studio. His version is that it was the Congress, elective Congress of the PAC. I've seen a lot of people who are saying that it absolutely wasn't. Narius Moloto, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here this evening.
What happened? Were you in Marble Hall over the weekend? What happened there? Was it a PAC Congress, legitimately held, with the result that you were re-elected?
Yes. We don't know what brings that questions, because it was the 11th National Congress of the PAC, and it went quite well. Consists of the delegates of the PAC. That was the highest in number from the branches of the party. That is in terms of the constitution of the PAC. But if I may take you back a bit, you know, we have had this agreement which was made court order on the 8th of March. Now on that day, in terms of that court order, which was an agreement, we had to have a national congress by not later than the end of this month. And we have to give effect to that court order, and we have done so. So also, in terms of the PAC constitution, each branch of the party paid up. It is entitled to send the delegates there. So the notice was there as early as the 8th of March, but subsequently from June, all the branches of the party were informed, and they started to comply, so they've complied. We do not have an issue in terms of that Congress.
Was Apapoe there?
No, he wasn't there.
Why not?
I don't know. He was not a delegate there. Remember, you don't just run into a national congress. You ought to be a delegate. You must submit your name as a delegate from your own branch. It's your branch, it's not yourself. So all the branches of the PAC on record have submitted the names of their delegates. Those were the people who were there on that specific day.
Were there any other nominations, say, for the position of president other than yourself? Was Apapoe, for example, nominated by anyone? And what was the result of that nomination if it did happen?
He was not nominated. He wasn't there as a delegate. And therefore, that's it. Each and every organization, PAC, run in terms of its constitution. It is a time period from which you verify the delegates. It is a time period for which you have to make some nomination for the leadership. And that is a democratic process in the PAC, and I take it in all other organizations. The branches and the members talk among each other, and they lobby for who should lead them going forward. But notwithstanding that, we still have to go through a national congress, that is an official gathering of the PAC, and that's where leaders are elected. Leaders are not appointed in the PAC.
But wasn't the point of that agreement that became a court order to ensure that there's closure to these issues that have plagued yourselves as the PAC, in that you take on board all the various factions so that, you know, this Congress, by the time everyone leaves at the end of the Congress, you are all singing from the same hymn sheet. I mean, doesn't it defeat the purpose that if other factions feel like they were left out?
Now, in the PAC, we don't recognize factions. In terms of that court order, that Congress has to be organized in terms of the Constitution. The Constitution means that the delegates to that Congress will come from the branches of the PAC in good standing. That's it. Now, the delegates that goes there, they don't go there on the basis of being a faction 1 or a faction 2. That's not how the PAC conferences and congresses are organized. Your branch in good standing must submit your name, and that's how people become delegates. The authority of the PAC at that time is with the delegates from the branches. It's going back to the members of the PAC. It's not to the leadership.
But sitting there, you really cannot even suggest to me with any degree of seriousness and conviction, Narius Moloto, that the PAC is united. You simply can't make that.
Well, it depends as to what you understand by the PAC. The PAC is its members from the branches. The PAC is composed of branches, not just composed of a loose group of individuals who go there claiming to be leaders or not leaders. If you are not from the branch of the PAC, you are not PAC. Now, no matter how popular or how you are known outside the PAC, that's another matter. You are a PAC in terms of, one, you need to join the PAC and be a member of a branch of the PAC. That's how you claim your membership of the PAC. That's how you go to a national congress of the PAC. That's where your rights as a member of the PAC and of the branch comes from.
So when you hear people saying that they are, I've seen on Twitter, someone called Nkosi, for example, says, Moloto must appear before the legitimate PAC Congress to be held on the 29th to challenge his expulsion from the party. And I've seen elsewhere that there's a suggestion that actually there's going to be a Congress of the PAC and it's going to be happening in Mangaung. I'm pretty sure you've seen that. What do you say to that?
Look, these things fly everywhere else. We know there's Project PAC. Project PAC is something that we are dealing with. It's not, we don't deal with people on the basis of what they are writing on social media or what they are saying on the street. We deal with the members of the party from the structures of the party. If you are not a member of the party from a structure, there's no way, we don't have control over you. We deal with the disciplined members of the party who are the registered members, not the people who are claiming to be members of the PAC and are not based anywhere. It is quite correct that you go to the social media space, you find everybody claiming to be PAC, attacking, doing all sorts of things. But we do not have control over those people. What we know is that, ask them, from which branch of the PAC do they come from, whether they're paid up or not. We do not have authority over such people. They can make whatever claim they're making. Our authority as the leadership of the PAC and as PAC is limited to those members who are in good standing, who are from the registered branch of the PAC. That's where the life of the PAC starts and ends.
Why do you believe people are so aggrieved to the point of forming all these splinter groups, these interest groups that operate outside the PAC? Why the PAC? Why do you believe you are a target of such, dissatisfaction?
No, the PAC is run based on its own constitution. The constitution provides opportunities for people to come forward. If there are structures within the PAC, in terms of the PAC constitution, if a person is unhappy, he knows what to do, where to go. Now, the people who are claimed to be unhappy, we don't know them. And we are not in a position to respond to people who don't know. Now, there seems to be a club of people that we are aware of, running different, what to call social media platforms, attacking and doing all sorts of other things. Those are part of what we refer to as Project PAC. They're intended to taint and to undermine, to throw dust on the PAC.
There was a point where there was an announcement that you had been expelled from the PAC, and I see many people going back to that and saying that you remain expelled.
Look, I don't know those people. They are not from the PAC. We don't know them. And they can say whatever they say they are doing. They've been saying this for many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does the PAC got to do with a person that we do not know? He claimed to be a PAC in a social media space. That's not how the PAC is run. Tell me if a legitimate branch of the party, disciplined members of the party, that if they have issues in the party, they have to go to that party using the mechanism available.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of talking about navigating the space of democracy in South Africa for the PAC now, let's conclude this part by asking you, as far as you are concerned, no issues about your re-election?
No issues about my re-election. I've been elected by the delegates in a properly constituted National Congress of the PAC. And now, as such, they shouldn't. There are no issues. There were no issues there. There are no issues now.
Right.
Nothing has been filed challenging such election or the National Congress itself.
All right, let's pause there for a moment there. That is Narius Moloto, who's the leader of the PAC, newly elected, re-elected, certainly according to the report that came out from the gathering that took place over the weekend in Limpopo. He's talking to us about many aspects of leading the PAC. In a moment, we'll be talking about how the PAC plays in democratic South Africa in that space, also including that one seat that they do have in Parliament. At times, it feels like there's actually appetite for the brand of politics that the PAC used to be known for, but because of many reasons, including all this infighting, they just don't seem to be able to capitalize on it in as far as electoral politics is concerned. So we take that conversation in that direction in just a moment. Welcome back. This is Your View. Thank you for joining us. We are talking all things PAC with Narius Moloto, who is with me in studio. I was thinking about, some of the history that you have made, certainly the proud history that you have as the PAC, Narius Moloto, and thinking about people such as Mark Shinners, your legend there, your veteran, Bethal trialist, treason trialist, and not to forget our former Deputy Chief Justice, Dikgang Moseneke, people who paid the price in as far as contribution to the struggle and leadership there. What do you think goes through their minds when they sit at home after a long career in South African leadership space, believing it's time to leave it and pass on the baton to the new generation of leaders, and they see Narius Moloto on TV talking to me? What do you think goes through their minds when they look at the state of the PAC?
Look, first, let me agree with you that PAC since its formation has played quite a pivotal role in the struggle for the liberation of this country. As you may know, the most hanged people from the liberation movement were from the PAC. We are still in a process. We have not yet finished in terms of the exhumation. Also, the PAC has contributed in terms of the human resources. The people you have already mentioned and many more. But you also remember that those people have not been fully recognized in a democratic country rather than the efforts they've made. But having said so, look, the PAC since 2012, where I came into the leadership, has been rebuilt in itself, and we've been making progress. We are happy with the progress that the PAC is making, given and compared with itself in the preceding years. So having said so, yes, the state of the PAC from how it has been reported has not been very good. It's been pathetic in some instances. But we are happy because we know that every organization in the process of its reconstruction, many things will happen. But that doesn't really dampen our hearts because, for instance, like now we are referring to the reactions, we're referring to the situation, environment around the PAC, but not the PAC itself. The PAC itself is making progress. We've been going to national conferences. We've been going to national congresses. We've been coming up with the program and policies and implementing them successfully.
Narius, you are giving me your interpretation of what the state of the PAC is. And that's fair and fine. Yeah. But my question to you was, what do you think people like Mark Shinners, people like Dikgang Moseneke think of the PAC when they look at the state of the PAC? And I'm using these two as being representative of a category that I know very well is not limited to just two people. They are representative of a large number of people who contributed to building this organization and now sit and think, we've passed on the baton, let's see how it goes. And they look at you, there's Apapoe, then they hear that Letlapa Mphahlele has been kicked out of the PAC. He still has people that say, we continue to recognize Letlapa Mphahlele as our leader. They see the performance at the polls going down. Your voice is becoming smaller and smaller in terms of being heard on issues of policy in this country.
Sure. Those people are veterans of the PAC. Having came a long way with the PAC, they understand the dynamics of the PAC. They are not just watching, they are there, but they know the PAC is composed of the structures. And that is those structures that eventually shapes the PAC. Okay. So having themselves been in the PAC, even during that time, the PAC has never been problem-free organizations at any time. And they've also experienced those kind of problems. Now, I'm not interpreting anything. I'm simply just communicating, telling you where we are, where we came from. You can only measure whether the organization is making programs by looking as to where it came from, how far it has moved. We are not where we are supposed to be. We are not even suggesting there are no issues, but we are, say, comparing to where we have been. We are making progress. And some of this development that you see is part of a reaction to the progress that the PAC is making.
Have you sought them out, your veterans, to try and bring you back together? Because certainly, I think an attitude that says, these people are not PAC members, they are renegades, and you see one group and you dismiss them, and another group you dismiss them. Letlapa Mphahlele dismissed, oh no, he's no longer a member. Apapoe, dismissive talk, not as in dismiss him from the party.
Yeah.
Is not taking you forward. Have you sought out your veterans? Have you gone up to them and said, help us, otherwise this organization is dying?
No, the PAC is not dying. There is where we differ. The PAC is making progress, huge progress. But let me address the issue of veterans or unity of the PAC. The PAC is actually, as I've indicated, measured in terms of its own structures, the people that are there. We have created a structure following the Congress, which will obviously begin to come out with a clear program from Sunday when the NEC is having the first meeting to deal with all the situations that we are there. We are not ignoring the fact that there are people, the activities of people outside the party. And we are coming out with a plan. We have a plan of trying to address and deal with that, not without necessarily undermining the constitutionality and the constitution of the party itself.
So then, before I actually run out of time, let me actually move on then from this point.
Sure.
We've dealt with it, I think,
Sure.
extensively,
Yes.
the point about the state of the PAC. Let's talk about then how that translates to performance in democratic South Africa in the political space. Just one seat in parliament.
Yeah.
I think in 1994 you had about 5.
Yeah.
And certainly it looked like it was a disappointment for your supporters and members, I imagine, but they possibly saw that there's a possibility that the curve could go in the right direction. One is barely making it, and even in terms of the numbers, that gave you that one seat.
Yeah.
What is your agenda going into the sixth parliament?
Yeah, look, we are going to reverse all these things. We are reversing them. We have programs. We did not have programs before. We are building structures. We did not have structures. And you cannot hope to win elections with no structures. That situation you are describing, it has developed over a period of time. It was pathetic. No one likes it. I don't like it. Now, I came, but I was a cadre of this party at that time. I emerged in the party, within the ranks of the party. I did not just become a leader, did not go there and just say, elect me. I was working, and that situation, we never liked it. But you looked around, there were no branches throughout the country, there were no structures that are able to hold the PAC. Even the numbers that we see there coming up in the elections, it's just that we are not guarding for our votes. That are not a true reflection of the PAC numbers and those people who are voting for. We know that. We've been able to do our own study. We have the capacity now, but we are focusing on issues that will take the PAC forward.
You believe the vote was rigged in the 2019 election? You got more votes than were credited to you.
Look, we have raised these issues with the IEC. We are very consistent. We are saying, and I put my head on the block, what comes out of there is not the votes of the PAC. Votes of the PAC are far more greater than that. That from 1994 we know. And we just don't make that an issue because we are not going to get anywhere with that. But we are doing something ourselves as a party to make sure that we are getting that situation right, and we are going to get it right. We are also aware that what we call Project PAC, of all these people that comes and pollute the PAC space, that is an agenda. We have to overcome it. It's been placed deliberately before the PAC, and we are finding a way. We've been developing capacity as well.
So how do you foresee your space inside Parliament there? Because, you know, let me tell you my sense of it, and tell me if you disagree with it, and give me your analysis, which I believe will probably be more nuanced about this situation than mine. My sense is there's actually an appetite for the kind of politics that the PAC stood for, a politics that affirms our Africanness,
sure,
and our claims to our birthright and the land and those kind of things. I'm pretty sure you've seen that there is that appeal of that particular brand of politics, a politics that certainly, as far as I knew back then, didn't believe that this liberal democracy we have would work out well for black South Africans.
Sure.
So if there's this appetite, why is it not coming to you?
No, this appetite has been driven and created by us, and it will remain there. Pan-Africanism is the solution of African problems. And we are very proud that we continue to project. We are holding our heads high as the PAC and all the Pan-Africanists throughout the continent. And the new revolution, if you like, or the resurrection of the effective politics that begin to address is going to start here and go back to North. But having said so, it's true that we are not happy in terms of how we participate. Even if it is one seat, we don't feel that our policies, our Pan-Africanist views are properly articulated, because we don't care about the numbers. They must be articulated and articulated very clearly. Our approach is from the African point of view. Having said so, we are cautious. We are fully aware of that gap, and in order to fill that gap, you can't just fill it at the end. You have to begin somewhere.
Here's an example.
And the programs that we have started to to embark upon, they will take us there.
Here's an example. We had these clashes that were playing themselves out in Pretoria, on the streets of Pretoria,
Yeah.
between members of the taxi industry and
Yeah.
people who are from other African countries who are residing in South Africa. Those are issues, the solidarity
Yes.
among Africans, the ability of Africans to actually live and coexist side by side, in fact, affirm one another, is something that one would have thought you would have been championing to say, let's deal with the challenges.
Yeah.
But certainly things such as, looking at one another as the other, certainly is something that one would have thought you would have been the most vocal about, but your voice is nowhere.
Yes. Look, we've been saying that the unity of the African people, particularly from the grassroots throughout the continent, is necessary. But the governments of Africa have been trying to come with a policy framework that unite themselves as the governments and leave the people away. Also, in terms of the distribution, people come, they flock where they think there are resources, and no clear policies is actually there to back up and to try to facilitate. And this results into what we are seeing in Pretoria and other parts of the country. That's fair, but these are the creation of the borders, which are artificial, which the African leaders continue to romantically just leave them there for purposes which you do not know. And people are now fighting over the little resources that are there while others are closing their own. We do not feel it is the correct space. As I've indicated, we are building up the structures which intended, and we believe we need to ensure the greater cooperation and unity of the African people, not only governments, that will eventually do away with this infighting. Look at the root cause, because you cannot solve a problem if you don't understand what causes that problem.
All right, Narius Moloto, let's pause there for a moment. In a moment, we conclude our conversation. Among the issues I want us to touch on are the processes in Parliament and your views in as far as the issues around the public protector are concerned, but also on the issue of the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution. You're watching Your View. In a moment, we conclude our conversation with Narius Moloto of the PAC. Welcome back. You're watching Your View on Newzroom Africa, channel 405. Let me check in with Ayanda Nyati now on what you've been saying to us about this topic of the PAC on social media. Ayanda?
Thanks, Thulasizwe. Well, we've been asking you the question, is the Pan-Africanist movement of Congress of Azania still relevant? That's the PAC. We'll start with this comment coming from Begging from South Coast, who said, I'd like to ask Mr. Moloto as to what happened to Walter Toboti. Apparently that's the PAC spokesperson. He's the last person of the PAC who seemed to be making a lot of sense, from the leadership of Mike Wangena, who didn't even vote in the 2014 national election, to the current leader, Narius Moloto. PAC is quickly disappearing from the political space and has lost some ground. He says it's very sad to witness the death of the PAC, the party which possesses such a rich history. An impassioned comment coming through there from Biggie. Anonymous says, the question I'd like to ask Mr. Moloto as the PAC president, what does the PAC stand for now, and what's their role and purpose? We'll certainly have that answered for you, Anonymous, in just a moment. Let's take you to Twitter now, where all your responses are also coming through. Nontlanta Buthelezi says, PAC remains relevant, as is the struggle for land, with all its minerals beneath and above the soil is still relevant. Hashtag People's Revolutionary Movement. Thank you very much for weighing in Ntlantla. We'll take you to Mushavi, who says PAC is no longer relevant. They should just join EFF and work together, because it's only Julius now that's pushing the PAC's basis. Robert Sobukwe would be so angry with the current crop. hashtag your view on 405. That's certainly the hashtag you want to use too if you want to weigh in on this current conversation. Thulas, back to you.
Sure. How lit is that? Even suggestions that you should just fold and actually join the EFF. We'll get your reactions to that in just a moment, but I do want to take a call from Benoni, and I believe we have, in fact, just go ahead. We have a caller from Benoni. What do you have to say?
How are you, Thulas?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good.
My apologies, man. The Skuman, my apologies. Your name escaped me there for a moment. What's your contribution?
No, I understand. Thanks. Listen, all I want to know is if, hello?
Yes, I'm here.
If Mr. Moloto says the what you call the PAC vote has been rigged since 1994 till today, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Skuman. Go ahead.
Yeah, if he says the PAC votes were rigged and he has been looking at this, but it doesn't matter to him. I really don't understand, because it's no longer what you call there is no more liberation struggle now. It's about working for the people on the ground. Then how is he going to provide for the people on the ground if he look at votes being rigged on under his nose? I really don't understand.
All right, Skuman, thank you so much for that contribution. Narius Moloto, Skuman says he doesn't understand how you will deliver for the people. We're no longer in the liberation struggle. How do you look at votes and you say these votes are being rigged, and you get to a point where you say there's nothing I can do about it? Also respond while you're at it to the suggestion that you should just fold and join the EFF. I think it's along the lines of what I was saying to you earlier on.
Yeah, look, I did not say we are not doing anything about it. We said the main reason is because we do not get our votes. And as a result, if you don't get your vote, and the voters who vote for you, even if you lose, and like we are claiming, and rightfully so, that most of the votes of the PAC are not calculated, are not necessarily added to the PAC in the central, at the national, and so on. So that we are sure of, we are doing something about it. Now, with regard to the second question, you can't ask the PAC to vote. The PAC is a liberation movement. There is an agenda, and the agenda of total liberation for this country is still there. What we set what the PAC was set ourselves to achieve, and the entire liberation movement, its agenda has not been achieved. This country is still far from achieving what the founding fathers wanted it to do. There's no redistribution of the land in this country. There's no return of the land. There's no redistribution of the wealth of the country. So for that reason, that's what the PAC was created to do, and is still doing that. We believe quite strongly that we'll do that and we'll carry it into the next generation. And there's no any other party that is able to stand on principle like PAC on those issues.
All right. I could engage you a bit more on that, but I'm almost out of time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to run out of time without asking you about one of the big talking points at the moment in as far as Parliament is concerned. Parliament considering how to structure rules to look at the removal or otherwise of a public protector. Busisiwe Mkhwebane being the person in position right now. On which side of the debate are you going to swing as the PAC on the suitability of Busisiwe Mkhwebane to remain public protector?
Look, public protector is a very important job in the country, and we've seen with the previous public protector doing some quite interesting job. But public protectors in general must protect the poor and the disabled. As the PAC, we approached public protector over a number of issues pertaining to land of people, poor people who claim land and nothing happened to them up until now. That's not seems to be the agenda of the public protector. Public protector currently, because it should not be Mkhwebane or what, but it should be what the public protector should do for the people who cannot do for themselves, and that's normal the poor. Now, at the moment we have seen, and to some extent even the previous public protector, being indulged in the political conflict, seems to be taking a political line in that, particularly within the factions of the ruling party. For that, we think is wrong. It's wrong. Now, we should not rather focus on removing or imposing. We should focus on what, where, and what, because the public protector is a product of the constitution of this country, intended to enhance.
I literally have 20 seconds.
Okay.
So when it comes down to it, which side of the debate will you fall on? Should she go or should she stay?
At the moment, we are not necessarily having a question that he should go or he should stay. He should get out of politics and do the public protector work.
So will you participate at all in these processes in Parliament?
Yeah, we do have a representative there, and he's there to participate, and he must participate.
All right, thank you so much, Narius Moloto, for coming through and having this conversation with me on the Frank Talk interview here on Your View on Newzroom Africa, Channel 405. We've traversed some ground, not everything really, because of time indeed, but we did try to cover as much as possible about the state of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. In a moment, we have our Africa Roundtable, and I promise you, it will be lit. We'll be talking about the role of statesmen in Africa, saints or sinners, but also, is that narrative even appropriate? Why do we want to see people in binary terms? They are either wholly good or wholly bad. So we'll be talking about that phenomenon on the African continent. I have a whole panel roundtable that will be joining me for that discussion. Stay with us for that in just a moment.